Hey, what's going on, my friends? It is Dave Sharp. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. I am stoked, excited about this episode because we're going to be learning about a unique niche, a unique approach, and talking to an amazing person. So let's not waste any time. Jennifer, welcome to the show.
Hi. Thanks for having me. This is awesome.
Hey, you're very welcome. I'm so looking forward to talking to you about your journey,
Oh gosh.
in your story, and giving us a little bit of a backstory of how you got here,
Okay.
because it's so easy to look at your following or look at the number or look at how good you are on camera now
Oh
and think that you just were like that
no.
since day one.
Mm-mm.
You're also in the relationship niche, which is so unique and cool, and you're being successful with it.
Thank
So
you.
and maybe we'll even get some tips out of you. Who
Oh,
knows?
let's do it. Let's start. Let's go. Let's go. I'm excited.
Yeah,
This is my
yeah.
favorite thing. I love live. Live is the best. Nice to
So
meet you, Dave, by the way.
nice to meet you as well, and thanks for coming on. And
My pleasure.
as you know, this is what we teach here: the core 4 ways to sell information online at Legendary, and that's courses, coaching, events, and being an affiliate. And maybe you have
I
an
do it all.
affiliate program. Somebody could come and sign up as an affiliate and promote your products. So those are the core 4 ways. Are you using all 4 of those ways inside of your business right now?
Let me think. Coaching. Yes, I'm a coach. What's the
Okay.
next one?
Courses.
Courses. I have courses. Yes.
Events. Are you doing anything live?
Absolutely. All the time.
And you
Yes.
do affiliate marketing.
And I do everything. I do it. And I do sponsorships. I do it all. I do it all. I got it all for you, Dave. I'm here for you.
A hat throw right 2 minutes into the show.
That's it. I got it all. I got it all. Yeah, I do. And you know what? I do it all myself, which is even crazier.
Wait, you don't have a big
I don't have a
huge
team.
staff of
I do not have a team.
Not a single person?
I have one person that edits my podcast.
All right. This just got a whole lot more.
I'm exhausted, Dave.
You are?
I'm exhausted. It's hard. This is hard work. People who are like, oh my God, it's so, no, it's fucking, can I swear?
You can.
Matt said it good. It's fucking hard. This is
It
hard.
is.
I'm exhausted. And I have 2 kids. It's exhausting. It's fucking
Is it
exhausting.
worth it?
Yes,
though?
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. You know, because here's the thing, like, you know, also I do it organically. I don't know if you know that. So I've never paid for an ad. I don't know if you guys, if that's a thing here, but I don't pay for ads. I don't
Most
pay.
of us do organic.
Okay,
I
good.
mean, as we're doing now
Yeah.
and TikTok and all the
Yeah.
same stuff that you're doing.
I do. And I started off with nothing, like no followers. I had like 350 followers on whatever. I didn't have I didn't know anybody. I didn't have a family friend in the business. I didn't know this one or that one. I was just like a mom. I was a mom. And can I tell? Should I keep going? I was a mom.
I wanna hear your story.
Okay, I got divorced. I got divorced. I got divorced, and I was a stay-at-home mom for, gosh, my kids are 18 and 20. So I was for 14 years. I got divorced, and then I got divorced, and I had no job. I didn't know what to do. I had no idea. I was like, fuck, what am I going to do? So I started writing a blog, and I was like, okay, maybe someone will read
What
this.
year?
2014.
Okay.
So 2014, when like I didn't even know how to use anything, I looked at my 11-year-old and I said, Jonah, can you help me? Mommy wants to write a blog. He's like, use Blogger. Everyone uses whatever. So I went on Blogger and I wrote this blog, and people started like reading it, and I kind of like found my niche, and I was talking about divorce, and it was kind of cathartic, and I talked about like having sex for the first time and blah, blah, and it kind of took off.
Yeah.
And next thing I knew, I was kind of like, okay, this is kind of fun, and maybe I'll write a book, or maybe I'll do a podcast. I don't know. So I wrote a book called One Happy Divorce, Hold the Bullshit. And it did okay. And, you know, it's fun. It was cathartic for me. And then I was like, oh, what about a podcast? I kind of thought, okay, what's a podcast? I kind of looked into it. And I went to this podcasting conference over at, I'm in Charlotte. So I went across the country, didn't even have a podcast, didn't even know what a podcast was, but I had a book. And I went to this podcast conference, and everyone's like, oh, you have to have a podcast, but you don't have a podcast, whatever. I started a podcast all by myself, but everyone's like, you have to invest in yourself. You have to put so much money in yourself to get something out of it. I bought all the fancy shit, and I bought the $2,000 package. And next thing I knew, I had like, I didn't know how to do it, but I just kind of kept going and plugging away and doing it, and had 300 listeners. I thought it was so cool. 300 listeners. I just kept going.
I had -3 actually.
I was like, 300. Awesome.
I had 3 that would show up and then leave.
Oh my
So
God,
that's
it was
the
so hard.
-3.
Yeah, it's hard. It was hard.
So how long was it? So that was 2014.
Yeah.
How long did you feel like you were grinding along and not making any progress?
I still feel that way. It's hard. I mean, I feel like, I saw some growth a little bit. And then I realized that I had to do some things. I had to make some changes, some big changes. I was worried about what everybody wanted. I was worried about finding the masses. I was worried about speaking to the world instead of to my niche. And at the time in 2014 and 15 and 16, divorce was my niche, divorced, women. And as soon as I got my avatar, and as soon as I sat down and realized, I don't care what everyone thinks. I care what that one person thinks. Instead of talking to the room of thousands, I need to find out specifically who my listener is.
Yeah.
And the minute I found out who my listener was, shit changed. It all changed.
Can you say more about that?
Yes.
Who is the listener, and let me ask it like this. Who did you find out that you wanted and needed to talk to, and who were you trying to talk to before that?
Okay. So before I realized, I was worried about I was worried about pleasing everybody. I wanted my podcast to be for everyone. Everyone should be able to, because I thought that's where the numbers were going to come in, right? So you think like you're going to, so my niche was called Doing Divorce Right. My podcast at that point was Doing Divorce Right. But I thought, I'll hit everybody. I'll get the guys, I'll get the girls, I'll get the young ones, I'll get the old ones.
Big net,
right? You put out a
big net, big money, right?
Well, that's what you think, because that's right.
That's what you're told.
That's what you're told.
Right. That's what we see. Big numbers, million followers. They must be making tons of money, right?
Bullshit. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But you know what? The minute I said to myself, wait a minute, I'm not finding that there. It's not specific enough. And I honed in and I sat down and I said, who is my listener? Who is really my listener? And instead of, worrying about pleasing everybody, I just got that one listener who was divorced. The woman divorced between 37, maybe even so specific, 40 to 52. And I said, I'm going to talk to her. I'm just going to talk to her and see what happens. And all of a sudden, everything changed. I even got sponsors. I had a sponsor, I want to say 8 months into podcasting, because my niche was this small, right? So Worthy.com, who sells engagement rings, they found me and they're like, oh my God, your niche is divorced women. That's bingo. We want you. And next thing I knew, I'm making money on my podcast. People are like, how do you make money on a podcast? How do you monetize? You monetize by having a niche this big, because that sponsor wants someone who's niche down, right? So then, of course, I found Worthy.com, and then I had, co-parenting apps that were sponsoring me. I had, all the divorced people, and then all of a sudden I started to grow. So that's kind of, and then I wrote another book, and that was, whatever. So it's just about being consistent.
So you've also changed from doing divorce to doing relationships, right? So in other words, you've clarified your message in your audience. And one of the things that I teach inside of our Blueprints program, which is kind of our flagship, you go through we have a 15-day challenge, you go through that. Yeah. It's $7. If you love this, then you can invest in the Blueprints. If you don't, it's at least you got a taste and you got an appetizer.
Oh my God, everyone should do it.
Well, we had over 100,000 people do it last year, so it's not like people aren't doing it. A lot of people are doing it. I
want to do it.
Yeah, well, we'd love for you to do it. But one of the things that I teach in there is called the fishing formula, and it's kind of an 8-step process to marketing in the same way that you would approach fishing. And I hear you talking about those first 2 steps, which is clarifying the species that you're wanting to target, the person, the exact person, not just fish, right? We're not just going fishing.
Right.
We're going out to catch red grouper. And the next step is, where are those red grouper at? What body of water do they live in? Are they in freshwater or saltwater?
Right.
And then once I figure out where they're hanging out at, how can I chum the waters to get them coming? I can't just throw bait down. I got to chum the waters, get them stirred up a little bit. That's what my content is and my messaging. And what I hear you talking about is those first few steps where you were open to the idea to get more specific and even narrow your audience.
Have
And I've
to.
seen this done a couple of different ways, and it's really effective every time I see it done. One unique time that I saw it done was an ad by a nurse who was just talking about kind of side hustles and side gigs, and she was teaching some strategy on that. And she was like, attention nurses. So she was specifically calling out other nurses. But you know what was interesting? Of course, all those nurses felt like they were talking right to her,
Right.
or she was talking right to
Yeah.
them. But also the comments were filled with, does this work for lawyers too? Would this work for doctors? Would this, so
Right.
it's a unique psych when you narrow down, when you create an element of exclusivity, right? Almost like, hey, this is kind of exclusive for these people. What happens at the most exclusive restaurant in town? What
Everybody
happens
wants
at
it.
everybody wants to get in.
Everybody wants to get in.
So it creates more desire.
Absolutely.
And our approach is always the same when we start. Throw a big net, don't want to leave any money on the table. And so we try to talk to everybody. And in turn, we talk to nobody. Right?
Absolutely. And then you also have to be able to pivot. So, which is what happened to me. I was doing divorce right. And then my life started to change. Right. So I was going through this divorce. And so I felt like I could really, relate to my listener. But then 5 years out of my divorce, I was like, I'm not feeling it anymore. And my listeners could tell. And another thing that I'm really big on is authenticity. So you have to be authentic with everything you're doing, which is why organic growth is so important to me and why I do everything myself. So everything you see on my social media is me. My reels are me. My posts are me. My graphics, I do it all myself because my listener knows when it's not me. They know. So the minute that and my followers too, the minute that I realized I wasn't coming off as authentic with myself, I had to pivot. I was going to quit. I was going to hang up my microphone. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm done. I can't do this. I'm not feeling it anymore. And my podcast producer, editor person said at the time, Jen, do not quit. You have this huge whatever. You're making it. You're going into climb. He said, let's pivot. And I'm like, pivot, huh? I'm like, well, why don't I just talk? I'm like, I'm in this great relationship. I've been with this person now for 5 years. What about doing relationships right? And he's like, bingo. So we pivoted. So I think that being able to like pivot also and like, don't quit. That's my perseverance part of it. Like, just don't give up. Don't quit,
It's so true. I have a history of addiction and then recovery. And one of the things that I heard when I first came into that program and in that process was, don't quit before the miracle happens.
Oh, I love that.
And what did I want to do every single day? You're trying to come off of opiates, heroin, things of that nature. It's very difficult to persevere through the withdrawal and the detox.
Absolutely.
And so it's not that people don't want to get clean. It's just that these drugs are a lot more powerful than we think they are when we first start using them, And so when it comes time to try to get off of it, a person really, it's almost impossible, and so there's drugs like methadone and Suboxone that are, people take just as a hopefully transition process to eventually getting totally abstinent. But many days when I wanted to give up, somebody, not some special guru on top of a mountain, just a kind soul, a friend, a stranger, just somebody in a meeting or whatever would say, don't quit before the miracle happens. Or I hear that said. And so I've, of course, borrowed, stole, whatever, but try to always give credit. A lot of those little one-liners from a program where every single person in the room is persevering through something really tough.
Yeah.
Just like a business. And so many of those little one-liners, so many of them apply. One of the other big things that as we pivot, or I pivot right now, this conversation to more I want to know more about what you've struggled with internally with mindset. When you got on and
Mm.
started creating content, did you look around and say, well, he or she's already said that and they said it better? What's the use of me saying it
Yes,
again?
imposter syndrome.
And imposter syndrome.
Mhm.
How did that, and how did that show up in your, did it make you create more inauthentic? Because for example, when I got started, I looked at the guys who had the nice parts in their hair and a nice shaved face and a decent, a decent way to communicate. And I said, well, let me dress and sound exactly like them. And I just fit in. It wasn't until I began telling my own story that I created some separation from the crowd. What did your imposter syndrome look like when you first got started?
I think it came out more as I, I was always that's funny because I have it written down like stay in your lane. Like I really had a hard time staying in my lane. I always wanted to know what everyone else, like my numbers. I was always like, okay, well, she looks like this is her feed she has 42,000 followers and I have 3,500.
Yeah.
How is that possible? But then I remembered and I had to check myself because a lot of times people are buying their followers. It's not organic. It's about engagement, right? So I just thought to myself, Jen, you have to keep putting out good content. You have to keep putting out good content and you have to be consistent. And I had to check myself and I had to be authentic. And people either I'm not everyone's cup of tea, right? Cup of Joe, whatever. People either like me or they don't.
Cup of Jen.
Cup of Jen. I'm a cup of Jen. That's
Yeah.
right. But people either like me or they don't. And I think there's someone for everyone, especially in the coaching.
This is my wife.
Hi, honey. Let me say hi.
We're obsessed about relationships and
Oh,
our marriage
I
and
love
everything.
it. Have you been married for a long time?
We've been together for 14 years, married for 5 or 6.
Can I say
7?
So my new book
Neither
coming
of
out.
us
You guys
know.
are going to love my new book. You're going to love it. I'm a big fan of marriage. Like I'm a huge, like my second book is called Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda, A Divorce Coach's Guide to Staying Married. So I'm like a huge,
I'm really
for you.
excited
I wanted to see you because your voice is so like captivating.
Oh,
I'm
you're
like,
so
I want to
sweet.
listen to your podcast.
Oh my God, you're so sweet. It's so fun. My podcast. I have some. I'm very lucky.
Yeah.
You can make me cry.
So did you?
You're so sweet. Nice to meet you, darling.
So let me ask this: Were you as confident as you are now?
Oh, I
Like
pretended
we're
to
looking
be.
at people are like, oh, I love her energy, I love your voice, all this kind of stuff. What were you like this when you started, and how did you begin to get comfortable in your own skin? Right, which is really
It's a great question.
which is our uniform, right? I mean, in entrepreneurship, forget, like I prove every day. I mean, I just pick a shirt up off the floor, literally. I swear to God, every day. I just pick a shirt up off the floor because then when the show's over, I put a tank top on. So I'm proving that what you wear doesn't matter, but it's about your uniform, the skin that we're wearing and how comfortable we feel in it. And my wife and other people on the show are making mention of that. So how do you believe, or what are some of the things that you did to feel more comfortable in your uniform?
Here's the truth. I am so insecure about I feel the most comfortable right here. It's very strange to me. I would rather this is so crazy. I would rather talk in front of 5 million people than 2. I'm just, I don't know. This feels comfortable to me. I feel like I'm talking to you. I don't think about the fact that you have 55 million followers. I can't.
Were you, I don't have 50 million followers. I only have a few thousand, right? Because, and we did more than 20 million in sales last year, made the Inc. 5,000. And you know what?
That's amazing though.
We've broken every single stereotype of what you have to do, what your company has to look like.
You know what?
What a CEO is supposed to do, how he's supposed to manage, don't
you hate that? What he's supposed to do? What is it? You know what else? The other thing with me is that I've heard no. I tell people this. I've heard no more than a flat girl in a strip club. Like I swear to God, I have heard no. The word no to me is like, it's soul crushing. But at the same time, for me, it's like, get up, let's go, let's do it. No is not the end game for me. I always get emotional when I talk about it. It's like it's the reason that I keep going. because I have to prove to my boys. Like, I quit everything when I was growing up. I quit everything when it got too hard, right? I was good at lots of stuff, but I was never fantastic at anything. So I quit because I didn't want to look stupid, right?
Yeah.
But now I'm like, fuck it. I will not quit. I just won't.
And I think that is a real mind shift that I'd invite everybody to welcome. And it's that kind of war mentality, right? Not to make light of that in any way, shape, or form with what's going on in the world, but it's like that total like self-preservation. Like, okay, wait, nobody's coming to save me. Like really getting, like really getting clear and surrendering to that, the weight of that if you don't do something, you are going to have the worst of what life has to offer, and nobody's going to stop to pick you up or carry you along. They're going to trample you, and that's the shitty ass reality of the world. And that's why when you come across a good person or good people, you hold on to them and you don't let them go, because the world is wicked. It can be really evil. And so that sort of mentality of survival, that mentality of, wait a second, all these creature comforts that I think I have were just created by government and large corporations. And honestly, if I quit paying, they're going to stop serving.
Yeah.
So it's up to me. And I think one of the benefits that I had of dropping out of high school and not going into college was that at 14, I sort of disconnected from the matrix, left home, was out sort of on the streets, which sounds horrible, but in a way,
it taught you a
the
lot.
Survival mechanism, that sort of self-preservation. Nobody's going to come and save me and do it for me, because, I'm here now, and doesn't matter how I got here.
You got to show up.
I'm here, and if I want this, and I'm going to stay here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to survive, I need to make some shit happen. And the world, school, college, in jobs, make us very passive, make us very compliant. And, we're afraid then to hurt anybody's feelings. We're afraid to be ourselves.
That was my life story.
And even more so, here's another one. We don't want to piss off like Facebook or TikTok, like, because they might ban us. And it's like,
I got banned last week.
Yeah. And here's
on TikTok for some freaking video I did.
Here's what I've been telling people is that these platforms don't have any feelings. They don't give a shit about you. You have to attack your marketing strategy as if it is a war plan, because Facebook at any moment, or TikTok, all that hard work that you did, if you're only relying on that one channel, and for some reason, some robot, does something and now it's gone, you have to have diversity.
Yes.
And you have to even have that kind of killer instinct to possibly even have had backup accounts created before it happened, in case, and get people to follow those accounts, because, hey, just wanted to put my backup account up because people's accounts are getting banned. And that should be a tip for all of you. Maybe not somebody with a more established.
No, I need to do that too, because it's scary. It's scary.
Very scary.
It happens all the time.
It's war for us entrepreneurs out here. And I think a lot of times we come into this game of entrepreneurship in capitalism, and we tiptoe around. We don't want to kind of hurt anybody's feelings, and we don't want to like make any noise. But it's the exact opposite. It's everything that you're explaining: becoming unapologetic, start making more noise, get more comfortable in my authenticity, cuss if I want to cuss, whatever that creates. And then also planting my flag and saying, I'm going to take these 3 TikTok profiles. I'm going to diversify unapologetically. You're going to put things in place to protect your business.
You have to.
And I think that, especially when we come from being an employee and being kind of trained to be sort of passive and compliant and not really make too many waves. And sometimes when we even come from a family that right? A lot of this can go back deeper than that, where we still don't kind of want to speak up.
People
We're afraid
pleasers.
somebody's going to come over our
Yeah,
shoulder
that
and
was
smack
me.
the shit out of us. But finding our message and really taking ownership of our success and our failures, embracing them is one of the biggest, I think it's one of the biggest things that we as entrepreneurs can do. So you explained in beautiful detail just now how
thank
you are doing what you're doing for your sons, and how you don't want to fail. And I would invite everybody to find something that's so important to them, that like it makes you, and I don't want to be corny about this because I heard this a lot in MLM. If your why don't make you cry, it ain't strong enough. You know what I mean? But it's like, there's truth to that.
There is, because I'm telling you, like I sometimes, and look, here's the thing, like I want to quit a lot. Like I feel like there are days and I'm like, I cannot do this for another minute. Like I'm 50 years old next week. I'm exhausted, fucking exhausted. Okay. Like, geez, I can't do, like my clients, I can't do, I mean, like and then I think to myself, I cannot, like for so many reasons. First of all, I really love what I do. I love it. I love helping people. It's like, it sounds so stupid, but I really do. I love it. And on top of it, like my boys respect what I do. I think, I mean, they're embarrassed when the people are like, is your mom on TikTok? I'm like, yeah, it was me. Okay, whatever, fuck. But like, that definitely, it's embarrassing. But I mean, I think that they respect me for having,
Of course.
this, I mean, I think they respect what I do. And I think that I just want to keep doing it,
Well, my friend has a little saying that I want I want a front row funeral, he says. I want all the people that are most important to me to want to sit in the front row at my
yeah.
funeral.
Oh, I'm going to cry. That's,
And it's like, when you put things in perspective like that, it's like, wow, the money is a little bit less important
yeah.
than, how I and the people that I love feel about me when it's all over.
Mhm.
And for me, the money is absolutely great. It's been fantastic. It's been way more than I would have ever dreamed of or thought possible. However, the self-esteem that I've built because of this has been extraordinary. It's probably been, I mean, right in line or more so than the income. So we've talked a little bit about how your sons probably feel about you. And how they're most likely going to feel about you when it's all over, if you keep doing what you're doing. But how do you feel about you? I mean, you've mentioned exhausted, and clearly you're joking, but you're still serious and you're being honest.
Yeah.
And how what's
It's hard for me to say I'm proud of myself, because I'm very humble, and I have a really even when I like introduce myself on shows or when I'm speaking, public speaking around the country, and they say, "Here's Jennifer Hurwitz," and Jennifer tell us which. I have a really hard time even introducing myself and saying what I bring, like what I do, right? And I'm always like, oh, I'm a relationship coach. I wrote a couple books. Let's go, let's move it on. I have a really hard time with owning my shit and being proud of myself. I'm working at it in therapy, but it's one of those things where I'm just like, I'm here for y'all, and what can I do to help? What can I do? But I need to, I'm super proud of myself. I don't know why I'm getting so emotional, but I am. I went through a lot of, my divorce was amicable. It was great. My husband, I call him my husband. My husband and I are best friends. He's my ice in case of emergency on my phone. Like, he was here yesterday. We hang out. But divorce is not easy. It sucks. It absolutely sucks. And I never thought I would be where I am today. So, I tell people,
inspirational for somebody. I mean, obviously, people who are married and have
stay married.
have no
Work on it.
getting divorced. But
don't.
I mean, for people like, man, sometimes you wake up, living life, feeling on top of the world. Wake up, the world's on top of you. Divorce would be a great example of that. And your message this morning, and I'm sure it's about relationships normally, but it's about what I'm hearing is that you can do big things after like tragic shit
You
or
can.
traumatic shit
Yes.
or really hard stuff. And I mean, instead of saying to everybody on the show who's listening, who's been through something really hard, right? Let me ask this. Has anybody not been through
I mean,
anything hard? You know what I mean? Has somebody not, even recently, I mean, not been through something really hard? And are you feeling like it's almost impossible to come back from this? Like maybe there's debt. I think there's certain things that can feel just as heavy as losing an important relationship.
absolutely.
Debt, death, uh, uh, you know, um, illness.
Illness. Oh my gosh,
Okay,
there's so many things. So many
there's
things.
so many things that and it'd be so naive for me as to be sitting here thinking that that we're all just hunky dory.
No.
Everybody has either recently or is going through some really tough ass shit right now. And the message that I'm getting from you this morning is that you can do hard
You can
shit
do hard
after
things.
you go
Yes.
through tough shit.
You can.
And not only can you make money and start a new career at you said 2014, so
I
that's
was
going to be, so you started around
40,
40-ish.
40-ish, 42.
So yeah, so I mean, this is normally when a lot of people that I knew or have known are like, well, the jobs are drying up. They don't want us
I
older.
mean,
folks.
I wrote 3 books, y'all. 3 books in
Yeah,
5 years. I mean, you can do it.
after 40, right? I mean, it's like,
Shh, don't tell everyone.
it's crazy to me to think about how much wealth and success so many people create at a later stage in their life. If you look at a lot of the really rich people in this world, a lot of their wealth was built later in their life. And it goes back to that, don't give up before the
Don't give up.
miracle happens.
Don't
You know
give
what I
up.
mean?
Don't
Don't give
give
up
up.
before the miracle happens.
I'm still
What?
waiting for the big miracle. I'm still waiting.
Well,
I wrote a screenplay. I wrote a TV show, a TV pilot, and it's been shopping now. I'm not kidding. Shopping in out in LA for 6 years.
wow.
And it's still like, I'm like, that's my miracle. I'm like, someone pick it up. It's so good. And it's won like film festivals. It won the Atlanta Film Festival. It won Georgia Shore. I mean, it's like, it's really good.
Wow.
Like, come on, people. That's my miracle. So when
Yeah.
that happens, when my show gets picked up, I'll be okay. You can put me
Yeah.
in the ground.
Yeah. Wow. Well,
Yeah.
so could you talk a little bit before, I lose you?
Oh,
Can you
this
talk
is
a little bit
fun.
about writing the book? Like
Oh my God, I love it.
most
I'm
of
not even a
our,
writer. Did you know that?
I did, and I want you to
Oh,
tell us a little bit about it.
yeah.
Most of our clients come in and really are in that either brand new or are just kind of getting started or feeling like they want to start over. Maybe they
Mhm, mhm.
got involved in a couple of different things and felt overwhelmed, so they're starting over,
It is overwhelming.
whatever. But just getting into like there's so much nowadays about video. We're on video now. We've put up your TikTok and Instagram. It's
Thank you.
all
You're so
video,
sweet.
right? But it's like the strategy that was used for so many years and obviously still is writing. It's
Yeah.
blogging. It was article writing. I mean,
Don't stop
magazines,
writing, everyone.
newspapers, things of
Yeah,
that
right.
nature. So would you talk a little bit about how you did that
Mm.
and like how did you write the book? Like, because that's such a cool thing. It's such a cool, I've written a book or two myself.
I
and
have to
and
find your books. We'll do a swap.
well, we sold it as like a free plus shipping thing in a
Oh, that's
sales
cool.
funnel,
That's cool.
right? But what I did was I took a lot of my content that I had previously recorded
yeah.
and
Smart.
I transcribed it,
Smart.
and then I would edit that content, and so like 80% of the book was already done for me because all I did was just take a lot of the videos that I'd done on a certain topic, and again, like I said, transcribed it.
So
So
smart
what
though.
did that process look like for you?
Well, for me, I write in a way it's called stream of consciousness. So it's my voice. And literally now that you've met me, if you read my books, you're like, oh my God, it sounds like I'm reading. It literally sounds like she's talking. Like I know Jennifer, this is her book. You could pick it off a shelf and be like, oh, this is Hurwitz. I get it. Right. So my first 2 books the first one was completely cathartic for me. It was just like spewing bullshit of like, one happy divorce. This is it. This is my life. It was so just blah. It was like word vomiting into a book, and it did really well. I mean, because it was talking about like,
Real shit.
real shit, like real shit. And then I kind of realized, oh crap, I maybe shouldn't have gotten divorced, and maybe this is the worst, because it hit me hard. Like I'm like, oh my God, now I'm divorced. Like, holy fuck, this is hell. So the second book is like, wow, if I would have known then what I know now, I probably would have stayed married. So the second one was on Oprah and Oprah's List and blah, 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 and DDD, because it was really like, I mean, like a divorce coach telling you to stay married was kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
So it was good. But yeah, the process for me, this is going to freak people out. I write really fast, like really fast. Like when I'm ready to go, like I have ADD. So the hyper focus part of it works for me. It's the only part that's really good. And I write like 3 months, 4 months, I'm done. That's not normal, people. That's not normal.
You're typing stuff out. I mean,
I'm literally writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to see ADD, girl? You've not seen ADD until
you don't have the hyper focus part of it.
I
have the rest is the worst.
I do, but working on a book or a project for 3 to 4 months would be an undertaking. It'd be an undertaking for sure. You know
what I do? I like lock myself in a hotel room. I'm not kidding. And I can write it. I can write the first draft in like 2 days, 3 days.
Yeah. I mean, that's
nuts. It's crazy. It's crazy. People
it's not most authors, I would say, nowadays are not doing it like
no, they're not.
They're taking in this industry anyways. You know what I mean? They're doing more, not like you're an author. I mean, you're a writer. I'm not a writer like that. I'm a copywriter.
Yes.
But I'm not a writer because it's not really cathartic for me, like you explained. And I wanted to touch on one other thing.
Yes, please.
Your original blog post or your blogging was not done for the dollars.
No.
It was done. You said that you did it because you needed a place. Could you say more about that? Because we have a big hurdle with people now of saying to them, hey, look, people can sense when you're like just desperately trying to make a buck.
Oh yeah, so no, you can't do that.
You have to deliver value. We call it edutainment.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
And we have to deliver something to them to get them. And what we mostly want to do is we want to educate them, because an educated person, it will buy.
Yes.
Whereas an uneducated person will just judge or prejudge and say, well, I don't need that, or that's stupid, or whatever. But I'm just so interested in any tips that you could give people to focus more on like just the content and the valuable things that they have to say. How do we, how do we be patient, but we still want to make money, and we also see other people around us making money.
Okay.
You don't have to solve this problem.
No, but I totally get it, because I totally agree with you. Like even every reel that I post is a bit of information. I love that. It's an educated, it's like 4 tips on dating, blah, 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 5 tips on blah, blah, blah.
Right.
It's always, and it never has a call to action. Like it may at the end, like, follow for more, or it always is follow for more. And I have the same thing, but it's never like buy my DDD. Because what you're doing is I totally agree. You want to give people free little bits of educate. You want to educate them so they want more of what you're giving, and they stick around. And it's that like, no, trust factor, right? Yeah. So they like you. They're interested in what you're teaching. They're interested in what you have to offer. Then they trust you. They feel like they know you. Next thing you know, they're reaching out to buy your course, your 5-video course on dating tips, blah, blah, blah. Or they're reaching out for you to coach them, which that's how I get on. Most of my clients come off of TikTok or Instagram, because people see my reels, and it's not that I'm saying, come coach with me. I have coaching all day long. I'm not screaming from the rafters. I have, 6 coaching sessions for 5. No, it's because I'm giving them free bits of information that they love, or they like how I'm doing it. Does that make sense? They like me. Yeah. It's not that I'm, throwing shit down their throat. Same with the blog. Like back to your first point,
Well, maybe it's about picking a niche too, because I
yes,
mean, like
yes,
so many people, I think it's more about like if we think about it in terms of the fishing formula, your species in the water that they
yes,
play in, but it's really getting clear on who you want to talk to,
absolutely.
because so many of us come in and we just we have no clue. We look around, we just do what somebody else does,
Oh, don't do that.
but we have usually some expertise or some passion. And so often I just think that people just don't explore that enough,
Right.
and it's like, well, okay, well, how do I begin to extrapolate or come up with ideas in kind of, well, that there goes some planning, some content
You
planning
have to
of,
plan your content.
writing down what are some different kind of videos, some research,
Some
going in,
batching. Do you
some
guys?
batching. Yeah, I mean, batching is, we've got TikTok pros in this community, and Instagram pros. I
Yeah.
mean, people are scheduling and creating
Yeah, I
drafts
batch.
and batching.
Yeah.
How do you do it though?
Oh, I do it. You know what? This is so funny. I take one day when I'm low on my content, and I will sit down and I'll do, like, the night before, I'll do a list of like 15 reels that I'm going to do.
Mm,
5 tips on, 4 ways to do, 6, whatever it is.
yeah,
And I literally like bullet them out. And then I get in front of my whatever I'm using, my backdrop and whatever, my lighting, and I'll change t-shirts sometimes I won't. And I'll just bust out the 15 videos. It takes me about an hour and a half.
yeah,
And they're 1-minute videos, the reels. And then I repurpose them everywhere. So they go up on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, Pinterest,
yeah,
whatever. And they sit in the drafts until they want to go up. But I use the same videos. They go everywhere,
yeah,
so consistency. And I just keep, and then I have like
yeah,
about 15 for the week. And that's it. Just keep
yeah.
going.
Yeah. Gloriana says, she say 15. I can only do 3 to 4. That's goals. But it's like, what's
It just
interesting
becomes
about that
easy.
comment
Yeah.
is, don't compare your day
Don't
1
compare.
to
Don't
her
compare.
year 10. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
yes, yes, yes. And also 3 to 4 is great, because it just don't worry about what I do, and just look at, if you can do 3 to 4, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I mean, anything that you can do consistently. I think the big
Yes.
question is, what can I do consistently? What can I keep up with? And what's realistic for me? And I think so
Yeah.
many,
Yeah.
many times entrepreneurs, we're big thinkers, we're dreamers, but we fly by the seat of our pants. So we naturally bite off more than we can chew.
Yes.
Naturally, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's like whatever, and we do that with goals too. I've been
Absolutely.
talking to entrepreneurs for 10, 12 years. It's like they want to make they want to go from 0 to $1 million a year, 0 to 60,
Yeah.
just in the first month or two. It's like, come on, man, this is something that is going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of work.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, entrepreneurs, I think we overestimate
Yes.
what we can do in a short period of time,
Right.
and underestimate what we can do in a long period of time.
And one more thing, I have one more bit of advice. It's okay to look at other people's other what are they called? People's experts in your,
Reels.
yes, thank you, other experts in your field, especially like if you're in dating and divorce and relationships, go look at my reels and take a look at how I'm doing it, and 100% save the reels you like, and use I mean, there's nothing wrong with using my content in your own way. Right? Like, people do that all the time. Where do you get your ideas? You get them from I mean, it's another thing to imitate it exactly and copy it exactly. We hate that. But like, if you see something you like, oh my God, that's what this is all about. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean, nowadays on Instagram and TikTok, if you can do something different, if you can do something unique, and well, somebody might be thinking, well, gosh, I mean, what can I do unique? Well, I'm going to tell you, you can be yourself.
yes,
Because
yes.
there's not another person that sounds
not.
like you, looks like you, has the same body movements as you,
Right.
the body language as you,
That's right.
their mouth moves the same as you. And in human beings, I often talk about something called the liking gap. And the liking gap is a phenomenon. It's a phenomenon. You can look it up. That where we think that people like us less than they actually do. there's a gap between how much they like us and how much we think they like
I
us.
like
We
that.
always think that they like us. It's a real thing. I
Yeah.
didn't pull it out of my ass.
Oh, I thought you made
Um,
it up yourself. I was going to
yeah,
give you some credit for that.
I mean, I would have. There are things I do pull out of there, but that's not one of them. So when we put stuff out, it's like there's always going to be an automatic feeling inside that it wasn't good enough or nobody's going to like it, and it doesn't matter, I think, how successful you get, because you alluded to it earlier that you're still insecure.
Absolutely.
You're still, second guess, question, have
Absolutely.
anxiety. You mentioned ADD. I mean, I have that and more. And it's like yeah, a lot of the same things apply.
Yeah.
Even as we grow, it's about really realizing that my biggest enemy out there is not my competitors, or it's not the platforms. It's right here.
It's me.
It's right here.
That's exactly right.
And what's a great example of that is the divorce coach whose main message is stay married. You know what I mean? Which I love that. And it's so refreshing, because you want to know why your message is probably resonating, because it's true. It's honest. And I think that's the other main way that you can separate yourself from people out there on the internet. When we say be authentic, what we really mean is don't lie.
Don't
Okay?
lie. Don't lie.
Don't lie about yourself.
No.
Don't lie about what you do.
No.
Don't lie about the results that somebody's
say what you
get.
think. Say what you feel.
Yeah.
And you know what? Fuck it. Like, seriously, like, that's my biggest look, that one person that says something shitty to you, like, we hold that out, right? We hold that one comment in forever. Fuck, who gives a shit? Like, it's like, you got to let it go, right? But to be honest and authentic and real, people are going to gravitate towards you. They're going to gravitate. And you know what? You're not going to please everyone. You can't please everyone. You can't.
Yeah.
So say how you feel. And you know what? And that's it.
You did a lot of that this morning. Well, thank you seriously for your time.
It was so fun. I loved this. I love it. Thank you for having me.
You're
It's nice meeting you.
Thank you for your time, and maybe you'll come back and do a version 2 with us.
I would love to. Anytime.
All right, cool. All right, Jen, we'll talk to you later.
Thank you, darling.
Be good. Send as many people your way as we can to check out your stuff and learn from your experience. And we'll talk to you soon. All right.
Bye, honey. Thank you.
Bye. All right, my friends, doing relationships right. You can go follow Jennifer. You can learn from her. She even gave you permission to model the things that she's doing out there. How generous, seriously. And you want to know why she did that? Because she knows that nobody can do her like she does her, but you can do you like you do you, borrowing some of her ideas or some of her content. And we all do that. Nobody comes up with really any original ideas. We're not around inventing light bulbs anymore, folks. There's 7 billion people on this earth. It's about finding inspiration. It's about modeling, and it's about taking a risk. It's about just taking a risk. And the very first time that she hit, post on that blog post was that the biggest risk that you take. The biggest risk that you take is always the first step. Right? It's like once you do that, once you show up and kind of put yourself out there, you're out there. You're out. It's like you're out in the middle of the Coliseum. You're looking around and you're anxious as shit for the first few seconds, and then you're like, okay, let's go. This is my new home, right? And so, take the risk. Take the risk. Take the leap of faith today. You can do it. And thank you, Jennifer, for the incredible story and the incredible inspiration. She's at Doing Relationships Right over on TikTok and Instagram. And my friends, if you have a story, if you want to be considered to be featured on the show, you're doing something unique in a unique niche, you've gotten some unique result from our community and our training, even at your existing job, because these are transferable skills that you can use no matter what you're doing. Even if you're in a current position right now, to do it better, you have an existing business, you can apply these skills. If you have a unique story, or you just want to come on and share some tips and strategies, you can apply to be featured on the show and be a guest right at the link on the screen.